Thank you so much. Rey Felipe, Majestad, muchísimas gracias.
Thank you very much, Your Majesty, for receiving us in this historic summit in Madrid.
As His Majesty has said so rightly, at a turning point in history. Some of us, some in the media, are preparing to say that this will be, and it will be, a historic summit. Secretary General Stoltenberg and us, we also say it will be a transformative summit, which is also true. But I would dare say that this will be the most important summit of NATO in generations. Generations that never believed, after the atrocities of the First and Second World War, that war is still possible on our continent. It shattered, as His Majesty rightly said, the fabric, the assumptions, the hypotheses in which our societies, our security, our economies were built. This is what NATO does. We have in our DNA a gene of permanent adaptation to changing circumstances. This is what our leaders will do in Madrid. Many of you already comment on the outcomes of the summit. This was not what I will do today. And also because we have here so many dear friends from the closest of the think tanks we've been working with for many years, let me thank you and Bye-bye and your team for this. I will try to tell you a little bit more of what I believe is the underlying, more transformative assumptions of our decisions in these few days in beautiful Madrid. We all say that we are witnessing an unprecedented unity of the democratic world against this barbarian, atrocious, unprovoked, and illogical war that Russia has waged against innocent Ukraine. This is true. We've never seen so much unity amongst our ranks. And we are here for the long haul. We are here with Ukraine for the long haul. But something I believe is even more important than the political unity of the West is the regalvanization of our democratic society. In every single train station in Europe and North America and elsewhere, you see volunteers with a Ukrainian flag and fundraising money for a charity to help their brothers and sisters in Ukraine. We've done a lot for Ukraine. Since 2014, we are doing things for Ukraine. We'll continue to do things for Ukraine, even here at the summit. But also the private sector from our democratic world reacted without anyone telling them. And you see internet restored in Ukraine, broadband, after a cyber attack by Russia against a satellite that was providing telecommunications and internet to Ukraine. You see major tech companies helping us and helping Ukraine in fighting cyber. This regalvanization of our democratic foundation, I think, is as important and probably more important than the political unity of our political leadership. And especially for our young generation. I said this before. I was a kid in my home country in Romania when USSR invaded Czechoslovakia. I was shocked. It seemed to me something inconceivable. And I think the shock that stayed with me for my whole life in fighting against oppressors, bullies, and so-called great powers in their post-imperial nostalgic dreams, I think this will stay for our young generations all over our democratic world for all their lives. This holy triangle between politics, private sector, and civil society is the strength of our West, is the strength of our alliance, is the strength of the European Union. And doesn't matter how much the autocratic counter-proposition to our democratic proposition of organizing human societies will tell that autocracy and dictatorship is more efficient than democracies, I can tell you something, my friends. When we put all the talent, all the freedom, all the imagination, all the creativity of our free, open societies, no one would ever be able in the position to go ahead of us or, even worse, defeat us. As long as we believe in our values, as long as we harness our democracy, as long as we respect human beings. And yes, we stay true to the values which are the foundation of our unique organization: freedom, democracy, and rule of law. When Secretary General Stoltenberg visited with Pedro Sanchez, with the Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Spain, before the war, I would like to thank Ambassador Fernandez Palacios for his, sometimes you just cannot get rid of Miguel. It's something which just is so tenacious. I thought I was tenacious, but Miguel is really even something more than that. Thank you, Miguel, for that. You'll have a Madrid strategic concept from NATO. Congratulations. That's very good. Now, let me tell you something that what the summit represents beyond the obvious decisions that our leaders will take. Strengthening posture on the eastern flank, continue to help Ukraine, and of course, hopefully, under the auspices of Jens Stoltenberg, eventually getting good news from our Scandinavian future new allies. If you look to the decisions that our leaders will take, I'll not get into details, you'll be seeing a massive set of documents. We'll be talking and deciding not only about the eastern flank of NATO, as important as it is and will continue to be for us, unprecedented reinforcement of the eastern flank, unprecedented reinvention of the way in which we do deterrence and defense. But the south is also very important. We defined Russia as the dominant challenge and threat in conventional terms to the east, but also the strategic concept will define terrorism and pervasive instability as the most important asymmetrical threat to our security. Just before, Secretary General was talking about climate change and security, food insecurity, scarce resources, fragile governments, very unhappy young populations. This is fueling terrorism. And as we have to be vigilant and be strong in countering Russia, we have to continue to invest in these neighborhoods of ours because they are important to our security. And this is what this 360-degree approach of NATO to security is so important. If you look again to the decisions that our leaders will take tomorrow, not all of them will catch the eye of the press, and it shouldn't. The press is in the business of highlighting the most important things. The tens of documents that, in fact, reflect the gene of adaptability of NATO, which means a broader definition of security itself. We'll take decisions on cyber. We'll take decisions on resilience. We'll take decisions on hybrid. We'll take decisions in fighting disinformation. We'll take decisions on climate change and security. We'll take decisions on space. We'll take decisions on partnerships. We'll reinforce our partnership with the European Union. This is, in fact, what the summit of these 2 days in beautiful Madrid is representing. Is the answer of the democratic world to geopolitical revisionism. We have on our side the regalvanization of our democracies, a revitalization of our institutions, and a sense of purpose. And let me end in saying something to our Ukrainian friends. And dear Mayor, thank you so much for everything you do and your leadership. We are here for the long haul. And we know that your country needs support more and more and more. We are here to say that we'll be helping you more and more and more. Slava Ukraina. Your fight is our fight. Thank you so much.